Hi and welcome back. Now, if you've been watching the channel before, you all know that this is my 1981 DeLorean DMC-12, and this particular example has just over 7,000 miles on the clock. Bought it 4.5 years ago. I've got quite a lot to do to it. Partway through the rebuild, I was fortunate enough to get hold of a PRV turbo engine from a Renault Alpine GTA Turbo, which means that this car should be nearly double the horsepower of the original production vehicle. I've been working on the rebuild for some time, but over Christmas I decided I was going to go to DeLorean Eurofest 2026, which is in June, and I've got rather a lot of work. And as I find out in this episode, there's even more work than I've kind of accounted for. So this is what we're doing here. We're starting by taking out the fuel filler cap and the hose that runs down to the fuel tank. That gives us more space, which means that we can then get down to the brakes and the clutch. It's a bit hard to be able to see what was actually holding it in and what was rusted in place after 45 years, but eventually we got it out.
We are the champions. We are the champions.
So the brake servo is out, the reservoir that sits on top of the brake master cylinder, and the clutch master cylinder as well. But what we've eventually got to is basically the tub and the chassis. Right, so here's the problem. The barrel where the key goes in has been damaged effectively. I'm not too sure what it is. Maybe it's old, maybe there was grease all dried up, there's no lubrication in it, but it's a problem because I can't get the key in, which means I've got to take it apart and fix it, or I take it out completely. Now the reason I might take it out completely is because the only thing I'm using this now for is literally locking the wheel. Now I'm actually going to have other security devices on this vehicle anyway, so I don't really need the lock on here. So let's take this off. Sometimes these are actually part of the unit that holds the indicators and windscreen wiper controls. I'm hoping I can remove this and it's not going to affect it because it's held on separately, but if it is, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the mechanism that locks the steering column and then put it back on. Right, you see that's dropped down there? This is the actual barrel and then the locking mechanism, and it basically, this is spring loaded, it goes up into the steering column, so now it turns freely and that basically locks in place. Then when you turn the key, it holds it. That would then stay out while you're driving the car, and then when you take the key out again, releases this, and as soon as you turn the steering wheel into the correct place, locks back in place, and it's a big chunky piece of metal. You'd end up breaking the steering column trying to force this. It's not going to shear off. I won't actually put it back on. I can simplify the electrics. I'm going to work out where I want to run the ignition and starter switch. Right, so the wiring's out and it's hanging down here, so I've got nice access to it, and I've removed some of the cable ties, so I can now connect that up to the switches that I'm going to be using. I'm going to put the cover back on the steering column, so I'm just going to do these last bolts up. You can see that's back to looking nice and stock. So now I just need to find the bottom piece to put on the underside. This is the bottom half of the steering column cover, and you can see this is where the ignition barrel went. I think that'd be a pretty cool place to put the start button. Nice to fill the recess back in, but yeah, I think I'm gonna try and make that work. Yeah, no problem at all now. So there's our start switch. Looks pretty nice and tidy down there. I suppose I should move on to some other bits. Yes, the bonnet is back off. I now need better access to just work on the front of the car, clean up the chassis, get more light in there, and obviously I don't want to risk damaging it as well. So the bonnet has gone, the bumper is now about to come off, and then it's radiator, air conditioning condenser, electrical cables, hoses to the rad. Like all of this stuff, I've got to label and record and mark where it went, because yes, I'm going to come up with some of my own ways of running the bits and pieces in here. It's not going to be stock, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I don't start putting things back in to then have to take them out to give myself space to do other bits later on. So we need to carry on working through this now. That, which weighs an absolute flipping ton, we are just down to, well, things like these brackets, which actually have got a lot of surface rust, but haven't like worn through anything. These can go off to be shot blasted and powder coated. So I will get all those clean up. Any brackets on this that can be resurrected, you know, you can see on here where it was originally sort of like plated. Yeah, these can just be powder coated, shot blasted and powder coated, and they'll go back on the car looking like new parts. You can see all my wiring that I did before I started the channel, and I was working on this a couple of years back. I know there's marks on these brackets, but these were all new brackets, all new wiring. I bought in wiring that had exactly the same colours to match the original wiring in the car. So we are basically down to brake lines. These are the old horns, they'll just go in the bin, but I've just got to mark up the wires. I'm probably going to remake all of this loom, but I want to know how the loom was set up, where I'm going to chop it off, and then how I'm going to run it through, because I don't really want to go through the whole car at the moment. If everything here works and has got feed to it when I've got a battery on it, when the correct things are supposed to be working, I'd rather give it new earths, new power lines, but cut it back to a specific point. Horns are gonna go. I'm not gonna have twin horns on it anymore. I'll have just like a modern little horn hidden somewhere. And then obviously these are the fans. I think that's either a resistor or a ballast. So once we've kind of identified what the wires are, we're literally just down to brake lines, tarting up the chassis and taking out the steering column. And I'm debating whether or not I'm gonna bother with the air conditioning at this stage, because yeah, it's gonna get hot in the car, but British weather, we don't get that hot that often. So I think I'm probably going to do it without the air conditioning for the time being, just so I can remove a level of complexity. And I don't need to worry about charging it all or hooking it up at the back. That might be easier for now, but the next thing is definitely going to be marking up where the brake lines go, how they split, and then unbolting them, taking the T-pieces out and replacing them, and then really getting on with cleaning up the chassis, because this is horrific and it's gonna take time to get it right. Right, there's two things I've got to do now. I need to have a tidy up, because it's a bit of a mess and there's all the old broken parts, and there's a part of me that really doesn't want to throw them away, because it's the radiator and the air conditioning condenser from like a 40-year-old, 45-year-old car. Maybe I'm being a little bit too sentimental over the whole thing, but there's some new parts turning up soon. We have another delivery. I think these are the front mounting brackets. Those are new versions of these. Then we have new coolant pipes with the bleed on it. This should be new modern radiator fans, which are going to look a million miles from the old ones. So brand new fans to go on the front. I think they're about 1,500 cubic feet per meter airflow. So we've got two of those. More hoses, more brackets. These ones definitely are stainless steel, which is great. The rubbers in here for mountings, and then some extra tubes. New aluminium cowling to hold the fans in place and direct the air through. This should be our radiator. Oh, I think it's caught on a bit of tape. Okay, that should come off now. Get rid of that box down there. And this we want to be really careful with up until the point it goes in. So this will stay in the box, and then I'll start putting all the other bits away so they're nice and safe. But this is our brand new all aluminium radiator. Fantastic. So all new radiators go in, which means I can now put the frame together, put the fans on, then I can box this up, get it out of the way, because then it's going to stay there until the car is ready to have it back on it, which is going to be a few bushes, an anti-roll bar, some suspension, and a lot of work on the chassis time. So we need to make sure nothing happens to this. Right, so now we need to put these parts together. So I've got the new radiator, I've got the other fan and the cowling, etc., etc. So let's dig them all out and turn this into a single piece, ready to put off to one side and fit in the car. One radiator, that is ready to bolt into the car, have the hoses go on it, connect these up to the wiring system, and it's another job done. And I think we're going to draw it there. I mean, we've got the frunk, I think you call it, when the engine's in the back. So the frunk is kind of like, I don't like that word. The front of the car, that bit is cleared right down to the chassis. Brake lines, electricals are out. We've rebuilt the radiator. We've got new fans to go in it. Like, everything's really coming along, but the electrical work is what I've really got to focus on now. So I'm gonna crack on with this now. I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thanks very much.